Welcome to the Infrastructure Podcast. My name is Anthony Oliver. In today's podcast, we're going to return to the interesting, important, and very often controversial topic of artificial intelligence, specifically the way that it's set, or perhaps not set, to transform the way we design, construct, operate, and maintain our infrastructure. Now, no one will have escaped the ubiquitous emergence of AI tools now finding their way into virtually every aspect of our lives, driving our phones and our computers to influence and guide our working patterns, our social media feeds, our entertainment choices, our cars, and perhaps even our friends. And the infrastructure sector is not immune to this influence. As the use of data, digital technologies, and software tools increases, we're now seeing an inevitable rise in AI tools creeping in to smooth the flow of information. And that means, at the one end, helping out with the time-consuming, number-crunching tasks. I suppose think of it as a handy helper, tackling the mundane tasks and freeing up time for professionals to focus on the creative problem-solving elements of their work. And on the other hand, we're also now seeing the rise of AI tools capable of much more advanced decision-making, using live data and complex rule sets, easing the management of processes across all aspects of infrastructure. And some may say creating a fantastic opportunity to boost efficiency. Others fear a spiraling route to disaster. Software companies are at the cutting edge of this AI revolution, and Bentley Systems is one such software business, which at its recent Year in Infrastructure conference in Vancouver revealed the ongoing ambition to revolutionize infrastructure through AI. It is an exciting and daunting moment for the sector. So to hear more about these revolutionary ambitions, it's my pleasure to chat today to Julien Moutte, Chief Technology Officer at Bentley Systems, the man driving forward this revolution and rolling it out at a dizzying pace for the infrastructure sector to grasp. Julien, welcome to the Infrastructure Podcast.
Hello, Anthony. Thanks for having me.
Well, Julien, we are talking at the close of the 2024 Year in Infrastructure event in Vancouver, which has showcased a raft of new and exciting products and projects. Building on my introduction, from what we've seen this week, artificial intelligence is with us. So how excited are you about this potential in infrastructure?
I'm very excited, as you rightfully stated. It is with us, and it's been with us for a while. I mean, we've been using AI at Bentley for infrastructure for almost more than a decade already, in different kind of aspects. But I think what's new is the appearance of generative AI, right? And that's truly exciting because it unlocks a whole new set of possibilities, which we are hoping to be able to unlock with new product capabilities.
Right. So explain how you would describe generative AI.
Well, the idea that you can use AI to create content. And this has been illustrated a lot with creation of text. We've seen ChatGPT, but the potential of creating content is unbounded, right? You can apply this to infrastructure to propose new models, new schedules for construction, etc. It's generating content.
Because Bentley has been at the forefront of digital twin technology, and in particular the development of your iTwin platform. I mean, how do you see the use of these new tools, really starting to revolutionize infrastructure? What are the kind of the big impacts that you see happening?
Well, we see that the digital twin is bringing the data together, and then this is unlocking the potential of AI. So in this sense, the fact that all of the engineers and the engineering firms are moving to a data-rich world where the data is digital and flowing is unlocking all of those capabilities to do better maintenance, to do better design, to control their impact.
Yeah, and it's interesting you refer to the fact that it's about maintenance and design, because of course the point that was made at the conference was that some 95% of assets are already built. The major focus must now be to optimize the operation and maintenance of our infrastructure. So how are you seeing the integration of AI really helping to improve that real-time monitoring and predictive maintenance?
Well, one of the big use case for AI, which has been here for a while, is computer vision. It's right. You can have an eye on everything. Yeah. And when it comes to maintaining infrastructure, which is quite dispersed in the territory, having an eye on everything is really critical. Yeah. How can you automate at scale the inspection, the control to make sure that everything is working as expected?
Because I suppose one of the big challenges that asset owners have is that it's just knowing what assets they've got and then keeping an eye on them on a regular basis.
Exactly, and detecting all the potential security hazard and the defects that are happening on over there. There's also the predictive maintenance, looking at what has happened in the past when we had some problems, and then anticipating and trying to predict the future to avoid potential malfunctions and a disruption to the quality of life of everyone.
No, because I can see that there's huge opportunities around the automation, but I suppose the other side of that, Julien, is that, I mean, how do you ensure that these AI-driven insights are transparent and that, I suppose, the decision makers stay in control?
So AI is really not meant to replace people, right? It's meant to be to assist and to enhance the capabilities of engineers to do their work better and to do it faster. So they must remain in control. AI is here to make proposals, to make recommendations, and the engineers decide if they take them or not based on the traceability that AI is able to provide on why it's making that recommendation. Is this more sustainable? Is this faster or easier to construct?
Yeah, because of that, I suppose that is the critical thing, staying in control. Making sure that human element is still there. That's the vital bit, because I mentioned that not everyone is totally happy about the impending role of AI, and I suppose there are security and privacy issues that you are having to deal with, I imagine. But how do you make sure that when you're integrating these AI technology into digital twins, particularly with nationally significant, nationally critical infrastructure, how does Bentley mitigate those risks?
So our users have a lot of data, and we need to protect that data at all times, right? So we have this data stewardship at Bentley, where we say your data is your data always. And as you unlock the potential of AI, you want to make sure that your data is going to benefit your workflows and your outcomes, but it's not going to be leaked to others, which could have some potential competitive side effects. But also, the data that is ingrained in AI models could potentially have an impact on critical assets. So you need to make sure you keep that data secure. And for us, this is a key requirement when we implement AI in our solutions, that we do this in a safe and secure way.
Yeah, but particularly when you're involved in things like nuclear power stations or other critical infrastructure sectors.
Absolutely.
Okay. We'll talk a bit more about open data in a minute, but to set the scene, I mean, how do you see this data integration and interoperability that I know Bentley, well, the whole industry, the whole technology industry is really trying to drive forward with? How do you see it assisting the successful application of AI within digital twin platforms?
Well, AI needs grounding. I mean, for infrastructure, we need to make sure that AI is able to come up with some recommendation proposals that make sense, that respect the local codes, the physical rules, etc. So you need to have a lot of simulation engines that are able to come and complement AI. So we see the interoperability and the data integration as being the way to bring all of those tools around the table together with AI to allow it to be grounded. So AI is making proposal, and then you have all those simulation tools that are able to interact and interoperate on the data, so that they can say, well, that design is not going to work. It's not going to respect the local codes, etc. And then you can make sure that you have this benefit brought to the engineers without distracting them with providing something that does not make sense.
Because I suppose the more open the data is, the more access and the better results the AI can go and find.
Exactly. It needs help too.
Yeah. Well, I mentioned that we're talking after the UN Infrastructure Conference in Vancouver, and you launched a dizzying array of new products at this event, one of which was the Bentley Asset Analytics, which utilizes AI to generate insights into operating conditions of infrastructure assets. So, how would you say Bentley is really leveraging AI for automating the design, construction, and operational phases within the digital twin applications?
So, if we're focusing on asset analytics, deciding that you have assets that you want to manage and operate in a better way, we see AI helping there massively with the efficiency to capture the condition, as we've mentioned just earlier. I mean, there's towers, highways all over the country, and you want to make sure you can monitor those. So there, the value of AI is that you can just have so many more inspections happening with the automation of AI that you would do with just personnel going on the field. So that increases the safety and the efficiency of maintaining those infrastructure in the best possible shapes. There's also the way that AI can help you with accessing the data. Collecting, creating the data, and combining it with different sources is something that is tedious, and AI can help in doing a lot of that filtering and making the data easier for you to access. So, for instance, when you're looking at telecom towers, being able to look at what towers do you have, what kind of structures or antenna are installed there, AI can help a lot with that, which maximizes this operation phase.
I suppose there's huge benefits in being able to reuse, or being able to understand whether you can reuse existing structures as well there.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Yep.
We also revealed the new OpenSite Plus product, which is it's a new AI-powered offering for site design. So tell us how that leverages generative AI and digital twin technologies.
Oh, great question. I'm very excited about this new product. So
I detected that from the delivery.
Indeed, yeah. It's quite a massive advancement because it's the first product that is digital twin native that we create here at Bentley. So it's not creating files; it's working directly with the digital twin.
To explain, what do you mean by digital twin native then?
So we understand that in the long run, we'll be working with databases, data structures that are open, that are flowing, instead of just creating files that you need to exchange back and forth with different people.
Right.
And for us in infrastructure, we believe that this data construct that you use is the digital twin. It has all those layers of engineering data, reality survey data, IoT data, subsurface data, and all the applications that you use every day contribute and enrich that data structure progressively. And this is your data foundation that you then use to do more design, but also leverage AI, etc. So having an application that is digital twin native makes it so much easier for collaboration and for extracting those insights.
And the OpenSite Plus is one of those.
So OpenSite Plus is the first digital twin native application that we have created here at Bentley. There will be more, and those will come and complement progressively our existing portfolio of applications, which are file-centric, but are getting integrated progressively into our iTwin platform to start benefiting from that. And that product is great because it's also, because it's a new product, we are not just re-implementing engineering principles for other kind of applications we've done in the past. We're also looking at how can we change the way an engineer work by applying AI in the most meaningful way.
Right.
So we've used large language models to help the engineers, for instance, digest all the information that they need, the requirements, the input that they get at the beginning of a project, and also the past data from other projects. And how do you find information efficiently in all of that? And LLMs are very good at that. They can understand the semantics, your question, scroll through all the documents, extract the answer you need, and provide you traceability into where was that information found. So for an engineer, you can scroll through hundreds of pages of requirements in a minute.
Right, So it effectively takes the engineers very much faster towards the solution, and maybe a solution that they wouldn't have thought about otherwise.
Indeed, and then being able to talk to your models with those large language models, asking questions about it,
and optioneer the solutions.
Yeah, and ask the AI to also make changes for you. So because it's parametric design, you don't need anymore to do the changes manually. You can tell it, make all of those changes on my model, and can talk to the model and do that for you.
Yeah, I mean, what you demonstrated was very impressive, and I suppose that's great. But there is a fear that technology is moving faster than the operators can cope with. I mean, how do professionals keep pace with this? You talk about it's changing the way that they work. That's quite often a tough challenge for an industry.
Indeed. Well, it's a progressive ramp up. AI is an assistant. It's a co-pilot. You're not forced to use it if you don't want to, but I think trying it is adopting it. Yeah. So when you start using AI to automate the production of your drawings, and then you save like 50% of the time of your project, and you can invest that time somewhere else, it's hard to come back and to get back to the old ways. But it's also on us to provide the learning materials to help those users see how to best use those tools and provide them examples. But it's going to be a progressive journey.
I'm sure it will be a very progressive journey. And a lot of people, I imagine, will be looking at it very, very excited. And others perhaps will be looking quite daunted. But lastly, you also revealed a new carbon analysis capability integrated into the Bentley Infrastructure Cloud. This tool, I imagine, is going to be helped by AI. How will it assist infrastructure professionals to calculate, visualize, and ultimately reduce carbon?
So there is a lot of work that is required today to extract the quantity, the materials, to be able to do a carbon assessment. Yeah. And when you think about our purpose at Bentley, which is to advance the world's infrastructure for better quality of life, this is actually a very important thing we need to do. Look at the carbon impact of a project. So providing the tools to automate that work as much as possible, applying AI to detect the groups and regroup the materials based on naming patterns, etc., and then accelerating the time that it takes to get a carbon report so that you can do this as early as possible in the design. And almost for every change you make is essential to making more sustainable designs.
Now, certainly there are a lot of people looking at that with quite a lot of excitement, because at the moment there's a lot of different spreadsheets trying to capture that information.
Right. It takes a lot of time. So you want to do this every time you make a change in your design. Yeah. And AI should be able to do the same thing. So it comes with proposals and it tells you what is going to be the carbon impact of that change.
Yeah. Very exciting moment. That. Let's talk a bit about you, Julien. You joined Bentley Systems as Vice President of Technology in 2021, following a 20-year career in leading technology businesses, startups, scale-ups, large organizations. What excites you today about your latest challenges at Bentley as CTO?
Well, when I joined Bentley, I had no idea about the impact that infrastructure has for all of us, because we take it for granted. Yeah. You realize infrastructure is not working only when you don't have water anymore, you don't have power at your house, and you took it for granted. So it was quite eye-opening for me to discover that and to understand also the impact that infrastructure has had on climate change, on global warming, and there is a lot of work we need to do. And the impact and the challenges are not only for Bentley, it's for the whole AEC industry. Yeah. And that's something I've discovered. I'm pretty excited about the changes we can make by addressing some of those challenges, making them more productive, addressing the work that needs to be done and making those designs more sustainable.
I suppose the changes in people's, it's actual people's lives that infrastructure affects. So that's a huge role.
It affects all of us.
But it's interesting because you're French, you're currently based in Barcelona in Spain. Your career has seen you working at data management giant SAP, as CTO of Skittle, a platform for online voting, a founder of Fluendo Group, a Barcelona-based multimedia solutions provider. So your whole career has been digital. And I suppose now you're very much involved in digital, but it's got a real kind of relationship with the real world. Do you find that link with the real world is much stronger now?
Absolutely. It makes my job much more meaningful. So I'm very glad to have found and joined Bentley, because I found a lot of colleagues that want to have an impact and help the world be a better place. And that's waking me up in the morning and exciting me.
Well, you talk about being part of a company where you can shape the future of infrastructure engineering software. Describe your vision for that future. What makes you so excited about it?
Well, engineers should have the tools to be able to hide the complexity of data management. So I really envision a world where the engineers are able to work with tools as they do today, but the tools should just make the data management completely transparent. Yeah. The digital twins should be pervasive. They should be created with every kind of action.
Because it's the physical manifestations that are the really important bits. This is the stuff which is vital, but it should sit behind it.
Right. And then if you have the data created into digital twins, that means you can unleash the power of AI on top of it. And I would like to see a world where we have meaningful usage of AI to create more sustainable design, to be able to look at the impact that this infrastructure will have. How can you make the better use of energy to construct, to transport, and to operate things?
Because you've also stated that the biggest challenge of our generation is combating climate change, and while also building more resilient infrastructure to cope along the way. I mean, realistically, as a software developer, can you help?
Well, yeah, absolutely. Because if you ask me to go help on a construction site, I'm not going to be very useful, and people are going to tell me to step aside, please. But I realize that all of those infrastructure professionals are using software all day long, and this is going to continue expanding. And if you give them the best tools, well, they can do a much better work. So how can we provide them the tools that will help them decide what infrastructure is required for the good of society? Do we need more rail here? And how do we make that rail track more efficient? How do we build a design or a bridge in a way that is not impactful for the environment around it, and that is going to reduce the potential carbon footprint around this? So there's a lot we can do as software developers to equip those engineers with the best possible tools.
And what do you do personally? How do you manage your own carbon footprint?
That's a big question. So it's lots of little things, right? I mean, I'm an engineer, so I look at all the details of stuff where I can have an impact. Personally, you can do small things like changing the way you eat, changing the way you live in your house, changing the way you consume, and that's actually quite a nice way to feel free again. I mean, when you start looking at your decision with this kind of carbon impact vision, well, it kind of disconnects you with just the sheer envy of having more, because you're like, what for? And what is the impact of that? And then finally, mobility, right? I mean, mobility is a big part of it. And that's connected to infrastructure. But that's my personal carbon footprint, because I get to travel a lot for work.
Yeah.
But that's, I believe, part of the impact that I can have. So it's a necessary evil, if you like.
So what do you live in Barcelona? What do you get up to when you're not working? I presume you're going to be racing back there to catch up with the America's Cup.
Well, actually, I'm more into hiking, biking, and being in the mountains. I live close to the sea, but I don't get too close to the sea. Right. But I really like the lifestyle there. I'm big on bread baking as well.
Oh, wow.
I've been baking my own bread for like 15 years now, and I love fixing things.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Appliances, everything. Try to make it work for as long as possible.
Right. Well, what was the last thing you fixed then?
A dishwasher.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's high praise for that. Yes. I've never been in one of those. Getting back to the power of open data, openness is certainly a recurring theme in Bentley's current strategy based on the iTwin platform, or the iTwin ecosystem. I think you've referred to it also. I mean, you emphasize the importance of open standards, open APIs. So how does Bentley plan to leverage these principles and really kind of drive this innovation and collaboration in the infrastructure industry, which, to be fair, you've been talking about for a wee while?
Yeah, so this openness is very important to us. We believe that the future of infrastructure is open, and we are very conscious that we cannot just implement that openness, the three pillars that you just highlighted, the open APIs, open standards, and open source, in every product we have. It's not practical, it's not convenient. What we do instead is that we integrate those products with a platform, and that platform has openness at its core.
Right.
So every product that is connected to the platform then naturally becomes open,
right,
and makes that interoperability and lets the data flow. And that's that's the journey we embarked on.
Right. Okay. I mean, I suppose one of the challenges is balancing the needs of legacy infrastructure systems and the desire to integrate legacy data into these new platforms, with the demand for innovation, especially integrating technologies like AI into digital twins. And I suppose the openness is key to that.
Absolutely. And we have to work with a lot of data that exists today. Yeah. So a big concept we have in our platform is this idea of federation, meaning that there's no plan to bring all of the data of the world into our platform. We don't believe that would be reasonable, nor possible. We believe we need to work in an ecosystem where data is flowing from different kind of parties and vendors, and that data from legacy system needs to be federated. It needs to be exposed in a data-centric way, connected to the original files. Because
infrastructure lasts longer than software packages, I suppose.
Absolutely. I think infrastructure is going to survive many vendors, actually, because it's going to be there for centuries.
Yeah. So tying people into single vendors, that was something which was criticized in the past, but for you, you've got to move beyond that.
Absolutely. Yeah. It is an ecosystem, and we need to let the data flow between parties, people, software.
Yeah. Well, certainly, I know this is something which the industry has been talking about for a long while. So in many ways, you could say, well, you're on board more than ever on that openness as a business.
Absolutely. We want to lead by example here.
Let's talk a bit more about the power of artificial intelligence. What are some of the key challenges you foresee in the future of infrastructure technology and the use of AI? I mean, how is Bentley preparing to address those challenges?
So I've mentioned our data stewardship, and your data is your data always. That's a very clear mandate at Bentley. We create our architecture so that we are always able to say the data and the AI models that can also absorb some of the data are always protected and reserved to our specific accounts. And there's also the responsibility and the accountability of the engineers, right? We need to make sure that when they are working with their new helper copilot, they have all the necessary tools to do grounding. And this is where our portfolio is very valuable because it has all those simulation tools to be able to ground AI.
And one of the key things is collaboration, and Bentley's been talking about collaboration for a long, long while. How do you see AI enabling this better collaboration between architects, engineers, contractors during that whole kind of life cycle of assets?
Well, it's providing all the awareness about what's happening, right? Collaboration is around information flowing freely, and AI is really good at helping condense the data. I mean, I don't know if you've used Copilot to summarize meeting notes and accessing information. It's really good at doing that. So we see that AI is going to be a big help for that.
Yeah. And I suppose the other thing is integrating AI into the digital twins to provide these real-time insights and enhanced decision-making. I talked about, on the one hand, it being a handy helper, but it is actually moving to the other end of the scale where you're actually using AI to help make those critical decisions. Is that something which is around the corner or perhaps a long way in the future?
Well, it actually depends on what is your maturity on the journey of making the data available. Yeah. Because when you have a digital twin, you have the data structure available. Implementing AI is the easy part, I would say, right? And this is where you start to unlock a lot of insights. So for some, it's already there. Yeah. They are really benefiting from this. For others, it's going to take a bit more time because they still have the data trapped in their files and they need to unlock that data to access that potential.
I suppose culturally also, if you're just starting working with a co-pilot, they're taking that next step to actually putting a lot more faith in those decisions is hard.
Indeed.
Culturally.
Indeed, yeah.
Let's look to the future a bit, just to touch on some of the other things which are happening at Bentley just before we close. You've just announced a new strategic partnership with Google, integrating Google's geospatial data into Bentley's application. That sounds like an exciting move. How do you see that partnership benefiting infrastructure professionals and really enhancing project outcomes?
Well, Google has a lot of information that are very valuable for engineers. They have this digital twin of planet Earth, which is fed by the data they get from satellite, from crowdsourcing, etc. And bringing all of that additional context to engineers will help them massively in any kind of potential workflows. The number of ideas that we've discussed with Google is just mind-blowing. Yeah. And I'm curious to see what engineers will be able to do with that vast data set of information.
They certainly have their fingers in many pies.
Absolutely. Yep.
Well, another acquisition you just completed is with Cesium. Perhaps not quite as well known as Google, but nevertheless very, very fundamental to the whole world of digital twins. It's got its 3D tiles technology, which enables geospatial data to be integrated into the digital twin technologies, transforming the model visualization. How do you see the industry exploiting this new partnership or this new acquisition, and also the visualization technology that it brings?
So Cesium is already being used by tens of thousands of third-party developers. It has a rich ecosystem of applications, and a lot of those are already in our industry. Yeah, surprisingly, right? We've seen that a lot of engineering firms already know and love Cesium. What we're going to do is that we're going to make sure that all the visual layers that are part of Bentley's products and digital twins are going to be consumable using that open standard 3D tiles. Right. So I'm expecting very soon to see data layers created by our products to show up in lots of different places, including solutions from other vendors and other solutions, and applications being developed by that rich ecosystem. And the other way around, if we create this open data ecosystem, you would expect to see data coming from different vendors show up in the Bentley solutions just because we're able to consume that data in an open format.
Yeah, well, certainly it's very impressive when you see the visualizations at the Bentley iLab, which demonstrates these products, the way that it zooms in and gains resolution as you get closer. It's quite extraordinary. So
yeah, and when you get all the layers, the subsurface, what's above ground, the IoT data, it's very insightful.
Yeah. Well, finally, on that note, there's so much potential on the horizon from the use of AI. How do you see the AI really evolving in the future to further enhance capabilities of digital twins for sustainable and resilient infrastructure development?
Well, like I said, the improvement of productivity is going to unlock time, free time for the engineers to do more sustainable designs. And then AI is going to help them do that by considering all the potential alternatives. Other engineers are going to discover new materials. How do we reduce the pressure on raw materials like water and sand, for instance? How do we reduce the energy that is needed to construct and transport materials to the site? So there is a massive impact that AI can bring to this infrastructure space.
It's dizzying. I think certainly someone in your position, you're in a sweet shop. You've got a whole load of new opportunities there, and I imagine the challenge for you is to make sure that you are ahead of the curve. Ahead of the wave which is coming down. So, what do you find, just to finish off, what do you find is the most exciting thing about the potential of AI and digital twins right now? What really kind of gets you out of bed every morning, fired up and excited?
There's a long list, but if I had to condense this, I think the new applications we're going to be able to create with that digital twin and AI are going to completely change the way engineering is being done. And I'm really excited to see how this will impact the maintenance of existing infrastructure and the kind of new projects we can build. So It's a journey, and this is a strong partnership we have with the engineering firms and the operators of infrastructure, and we are really committed in delivering that value to them.
Julien, it is hugely interesting times ahead for sure. So thanks so much for sharing your insight today. You're certainly at the forefront of what's going on. So it's a really exciting time for you as well as the rest of the industry. So thanks very much for joining me on the Infrastructure Podcast today.
Thank you for having me.
Great stuff. Well, that's all we've got time for today, unfortunately, but we do have more from the Infrastructure Podcast in the pipeline and more guests to talk to as we continue to probe the big issues faced across the sector. If you haven't done so already, do check out the Infrastructure Podcast website, www.infrastructure-podcast.com, where you'll find background information to all the things we talked about today, but all the latest podcasts to listen to and to share. So thanks for joining us. Thanks to Julien, and I look forward to seeing you again very soon.